Today, we journey into a chapter of history that defies traditional narratives. Russia has unveiled rare icons depicting black-skinned biblical figures preserved for centuries. What stories do these icons tell, and how might they reshape our understanding of faith, race, and history? Let's embark on a quest to rediscover these overlooked roots of cultural identity. In the heart of Moscow's ancient cathedrals, icons of biblical figures with darker skin tones have been safeguarded for centuries. Dating back to the 14th century, these works are far more than art. They are a visual legacy, representing layers of religious tradition, cultural memory, and a more inclusive biblical history. Russian icons are sacred tools, believed to serve as windows into the divine. These black-skinned figures show that in early Russian Christianity, racial diversity was acknowledged in biblical narratives, and likely, faith transcended ethnicity. These icons are not merely decorative, they offer a profound testament to how ancient societies visualized and understood biblical stories. By portraying biblical figures with dark skin, these icons invite us to question long-standing assumptions about faith, race, and their portrayal across cultures. Art in medieval Russia, as in much of the Orthodox world, was a medium for capturing a sense of holiness beyond earthly traits. Depictions were often universal, symbolizing a shared humanity and faith. The presence of black biblical figures indicates an understanding of the Bible that embraced all races as part of the divine story. In a historic moment, Moscow's cathedral unveils a rare collection of black-skinned icons. These masterpieces have survived wars, revolutions, and religious shifts. Each piece carries a story of resilience, mirroring the endurance of faith across cultural divides. These icons represent generations of Russian devotion and artistic mastery. Preserving them allows us to honor diverse religious traditions that flourished in ways we are only beginning to fully appreciate. These black-skinned depictions serve as symbols of resilience and heritage, suggesting that the story of Black identity has deep roots not only in Africa, but in spiritual art across continents. Seeing these figures within Russian cathedrals reveals a global recognition of African identity. It's a reminder that African heritage has been woven into the fabric of religious expression around the world. Historical accounts suggest that ancient Israelites, many of whom were believed to be black-skinned, fled Jerusalem after its destruction and eventually migrated to regions of Africa. This view enriches our understanding of African heritage within biblical narratives and highlights connections between Africa and early Christian communities. Historical records and oral traditions indicate that communities moving from the Middle East found a sense of belonging in African societies. This journey forms part of the shared heritage of African and biblical history. Ancient traditions describe Shem and Ham's descendants as black-skinned, facing struggles and hardship over centuries. Their stories of resilience and survival have been preserved through art and iconography, giving us a glimpse into the perseverance of early Black communities within biblical history. These figures from Scripture represent humanity's diversity. Icons like these remind us of the biblical tradition's inclusivity and the recognition of all races within God's creation. By revealing black-skinned biblical figures, these icons challenge conventional historical narratives. They encourage us to reimagine African contributions to Christianity and ask how these figures have been overlooked in mainstream portrayals. These depictions allow us to reconsider what we thought we knew. They raise questions about race, history, and the ways we've understood our spiritual past. The unveiling of these icons coincides with global conversations about representation in public spaces. Across the world, people debate the place of statues and symbols that acknowledge or ignore the diversity of our histories. Statues and icons are not just relics, they shape our values. Recognizing Black heritage in religious art is essential for building an inclusive history. For some, these icons offer a step toward healing. They show that history, once re-examined, holds space for all voices. Others fear this approach risks erasing traditional narratives. But the icons stand as a powerful reminder that all perspectives deserve acknowledgement. This experience has been eye-opening. We often forget that faith and culture are deeply intertwined, and icons like these remind us of our shared roots. As we reflect on these icons, Let us honor the ancestors and their resilience, reclaiming a more inclusive history. As an African proverb says, "I am because we are, and we are because I am." May we come together to rediscover the world through an African lens, embracing the tapestry of our collective heritage.